Welcome back, dear viewers. To shed more light about the latest developments in Gaza, we are delighted to be joined over the phone by Ambassador Medhat Meleegy, the former Assistant Foreign Minister. Good evening, sir.
Good evening to you.
Hope everything is going well with you. So, Your Excellency, President Sisi and Jordanian monarch King Abdullah II discussed implementing the ceasefire agreement in the Gaza Strip, including exchange of hostages and the access of humanitarian aid to the Strip. How do you assess Egyptian and Jordanian approach to the Palestinian file during the last period?
Well, actually, the phone call today between His Excellency President Sisi and His Royal Highness King Abdullah shows the necessity of a coordination between Egypt and Jordan, since both leaders are going to be more or less simultaneously going to meet President Trump and maybe discuss the future of the region. And I think it was very important, it was imperative actually, that the two leaders discuss together what are the options in the region and what can we be negotiating with President Trump, especially that after refuting both leaders and both people the suggestion of President Trump of displacing the Palestinians from the Gaza Strip, he asked both leaders and both countries to come up with better suggestions, as he claimed. So I believe that this call was important in order to coordinate any vision to help President Trump to formulate his peace initiative as he wants it to be. Although I think personally that the peace initiative is there, it has been there since it was announced by Saudi Arabia long ago, which is called now the Arab Peace Initiative, which is in short speak for peace in the region, peace for the Israelis, and in revenge the Palestinians will get their land. And now that after the escalation that happened after the 7th of October, we have other lands that has been taken and seized by the Israelis, whether in Lebanon or in Syria. So I think now the peace initiative, the Arab Peace Initiative, stands more than ever as a necessity to secure peace in the region.
So, Your Excellency, the two leaders highlighted the importance of reaching permanent peace in the region based on the two-state solution. How can this hope be fulfilled?
Well, we hope that President Trump, first of all, we have to understand that President Trump is going, prior to the meeting with the two Arab leaders, he is going to be meeting with Prime Minister Netanyahu. Mr. Trump has chosen to be meeting with the Israeli Prime Minister, who is actually requested by the International Criminal Court. And as we have all read in the report, that he has to take a very long route for his flight in order to avoid countries that could apprehend him to deliver him to the Hague and as a war criminal demanded by the court. However, Mr. Trump chose to be to have Mr. Netanyahu as his first foreign leader to meet with in his second term of presidency of the United States, which shows the association of the positions of the United States and Israel at this very important junction of the peace in the Middle East. However, I think that once again the most important thing is that President Trump would understand that in order to achieve peace, Palestinians have to have their own state. And this is what has always been known as the two-peace solution. If he really cares about the Israelis to the point that he is going to receive Prime Minister Netanyahu as the first foreign leader in the White House, he has to explain to him that this is the only road that would lead to peace. We just heard about the reports about the operation that happened today from the Palestinian resistance movement in the West Bank. And it was a very humiliating operation. And I think it will not be the last one. We will have more and more as long as there is an occupation. And if we are going to try to avoid speaking about, as we put it between brackets, the elephant in the room, which is the occupation, then we will not achieve anything. So I hope Mr. Trump would realize that and try to make Mr. Netanyahu understand, although he himself, I mean the latter, I'm talking about Mr. Netanyahu, he's having his internal issues in Tel Aviv, that his government might fall if he accepts to choose the path of peace because of the extreme right wings in his own government. So the situation is very difficult, actually.
You see the Israeli escalation in the West Bank. How to ensure that Israel will abide by the ceasefire agreement?
Unfortunately, I mean, from my own perspective, I'm actually reluctant to endorse that Israel is going to keep the peace thing. Not to mention, I mean, the second phase even that the Palestinians are already ready to negotiate, and Mr. Netanyahu have put it on hold until he comes back from the United States, maybe with more support. We've seen already that Mr. Trump has removed the ban on the 200-pound bombs that he always wanted, which maybe is preparing Israel for another phase of the war on Gaza. I am sure that Israel did not want to sign this, but they did sign anyway because of the pressure of Mr. Trump that he asked for this prior to his taking power in the White House, the 20th of January, which really happened. But now it's the real time for Netanyahu to evade this agreement that will cause his government to collapse. So actually, he doesn't want to continue in it, and it's very simple. I mean, we will hear very soon that Hamas did not abide by the rules, and accordingly, he is not going to continue on the second phase of the peace treaty or the peace agreement with the resistance movement, and thus he will once again launch his attacks and his aggression on the Palestinians in Gaza along with the West Bank. This is what I see. I hope I'm totally mistaken, because Mr. Trump also wants to keep the status quo, wants to keep this peace until he figures out a solution, a final solution to the situation. But in the light of the real corner where the extreme right government of Mr. Netanyahu is facing, I don't see them accepting to continue in this peace process. They will try to snatch as much as they can from the Israeli hostages, and then they will resume the war.
Your Excellency, Foreign Minister Abdelati told the European Union's Foreign Policy Chief Kaja Kallas that the Palestinian people should remain in their land and that the right of determination should be respected. How do you see the role played by the EU in the Palestinian cause, especially in the last period?
Well, actually, the EU, for the first time, we are seeing a diversion in their position to the situation compared to the United States. Just a few days ago, we've seen Germany and France, one of the greatest supporters of Israel in Europe, have totally objected to the plan, and not just objected, they even rejected the plan of Mr. Trump to forcibly displace the Palestinians from Gaza. And they call it unacceptable. So for the first time, we see a position in Europe that differs from the one in the United States. Nevertheless, I think that Israel depends solely on the support of the United States, and they use the support of Europe as an accessory. So they wouldn't be hurt much if the situation with Europe is not as good as they hope for, if the situation with the United States is at West Point. Having said that, I believe that we also have to do our work. I don't think that we can really be strong on our position if the situation between the Palestinians themselves are not unified. I think that this is a major point, and I hope that President Sisi and King Abdullah have discussed this issue. Without a unification of the Palestinian position between the PLO and the Palestinian Authority on one hand, and the resistance movements on the other hand, we will not be able to discuss any negotiations with the Israelis. They have always avoided talking real peace, claiming that they don't have a partner in this because of the division between the Palestinians among themselves. And I believe that really, if we want to seize the momentum and seize the opportunities that we are blessed with now on the blood of over 50,000 martyrs, the Palestinians have to pull themselves together and unify their vision towards their common enemy, which is Israel, and not each other.
Indeed, Your Excellency, Ambassador Medhat Meleegy, the former Assistant Foreign Minister, thank you so much for being with us. It's always a pleasure. Dear viewers, we'll have a short break and we'll be right back.